Hi, everybody. I'm Yvonne Myles. I'm the founder of Vibrantly Living You. And if you are watching this broadcast right now, then you are watching The Vibe, and you are about to get some really cool insights here on The Vibe, because that's what we do here on The Vibe. Vibrantly Living You is a health and wellness coaching movement. I like to think of this as a movement that we're just at the tip of the spear, encouraging and inspiring and motivating people with the right tools, the right information to be able to live a long and healthy life, a sustainable life, one where you are bursting with vibrant energy. My goal is for you to be able to wake up every morning feeling refreshed and ready to get on with your day, doing the things that you love in a body that is full of health and vitality. What's not to love about that? Give me a thumbs up if that is what you are seeking in your world as well. And that's what we do. We bring that to our listeners, our followers here, and also in my private Facebook group called Vibrantly Yours. Vibrantly Yours is a place where you can find some fresh content and recipe ideas and connect with a community of like-minded folks. You can also find some information and some back issues of or episodes of The Vibe and some of the really fascinating folks like the one I have today who join us on The Vibe. You can find those replays out on my website, Vibrantly Living You, which is actually www.vlivingyou, the letter u.com, vlivingyou.com. And you can see and listen again if you heard something that you like, that you just want to have refreshed in your mind. One of the things that's been going on here lately with my wonderful guest has been how we're making new connections. We are actually creating new knowledge here, new perspectives that you can take, run with, and use in your day-to-day life. And I just know that we're going to run across that again today with my wonderful guest, who I get to introduce in just one moment. Quick refresh. For this year, we have been looking at our health through the lens of the chakra system. We started at the base with the root chakra, then we went up to the sacral chakra. We spent a couple of months on the solar plexus because that's so important, that area that also houses our digestive organs and helps us get the energy that we need through the foods that we eat. And now we are focusing on the heart chakra for the months of July and August. There are a lot of wonderful symbolic connections that we can make about the heart chakra. Let me tell you first, a really wonderful way to view the heart chakra is that of the 7 major chakras, and once again, those chakras correspond with the energy centers and organs of our body. So it's a blueprint. It's like this etheric energy roadmap to your body and to your health. The heart chakra sits in the center of those 7 chakras and connects the lower body and the 3 lower chakras to the upper regions of the body and the higher chakras. And we just say high and low just because of where they fall on that continuum. It's not that one is better than the other or higher in stature than the other. They're all important equally in their own way. So I love this concept of the heart being that central place, that switching place, and that connector. And that's what the heart does, right? Through love, through compassion, through self-love and self-worth and self-compassion, we connect not just to ourselves, but to the people around us. Physically, the heart chakra involves, of course, the heart, but it also involves the lungs and the ribs and the action of breathing, which is vital, of course, to be a human being walking around on this earth. It also involves the thymus, that gland that sits right behind the sternum. It goes all the way back. We want to think of ourselves as three-dimensional, not just flatlanders. So it goes all the way back to your spine. So we're talking about this entire region surrounding us. And even to the upper shoulders, upper spine. Can even think of it as the upper part of the back and the upper part of the digestive system. The heart chakra allows us to soften and to take that breath. This weekend, this past weekend, I went to visit my father, and I spent time working on his house. This is something that I've done many times before, and each time that I've done it, I've left feeling somewhat drained, a little bit frustrated at the amount of work that has to be done, some of the heavy lifting, and all of that. And sometimes it's hard on my dad too, because I'm kind of moving his stuff around and making changes in his world. But this time when I approached the task, I approached it with my heart chakra wide open, very, very aware of my need to have more compassion in this process for myself, for my father, to soften, to surrender, to be there in a place of service and acceptance of what was reasonable to be accomplished or not. And let me tell you, it made all the difference. It made all the difference in my health physically, but also in my health and my emotions mentally. It reminded me of the power of looking at our health through the lens. You can do it every single day, to pay attention, to focus on the heart chakra. We both felt good about what we were able to accomplish this time out. Now, I'm curious if any of you have ever faced a situation like that, a situation maybe where you are offering to serve, but maybe your offer, your help might not be perceived in the same way as you were hoping it to be, or it wasn't having that same outcome for you. If you've been up against that at all, then drop a line in the chat or give a thumbs up or something. Let me know if that has occurred for you. And if possibly, do some thinking about whether, if you focused on your heart chakra, would that make the difference in your physical body, but also in your emotional and perhaps even your mental body. So as I mentioned, symbolically, the heart chakra is that central point. And because it sits right there in the middle of the seven major chakras, it does symbolize what we can do for ourselves, but also what we can do for others. And that's one reason, and especially when we're talking about the mental and the emotional, connect it with the physical. And that is why I am so very excited to have with us here today my friend, my collaborator, my fellow passionate health warrior, Ann Greenwald. And she's going to help us really expand the concept of the heart chakra even more. So let me bring her on. She has been waiting patiently. Thank you, my friend, for waiting so patiently. There she is. Hi, Ann. I just love the magic of Zoom, to be able to bring you people from around the world into this space. And Ann is all the way out there in New Hampshire. So welcome to Houston. And welcome to the vibe. Okay, let me tell you about Ann. Ann is a certified movement coach and a personal trainer with advanced degrees in biomechanics, neurokinetic therapy, and also Reiki. She's an expert, and I do mean this, an expert. She's helped me out before in solving issues with physical pain and discomfort, and she specializes in chronic joint pain conditions, the ones that zap your energy and then make you have to miss out on events. And for this month we've been focusing looking at the heart chakra in terms of pain and trauma, so that's really another wonderful reason that she is here today. So whether you're up against those fast motion traumas that are caused by injury or by accident, or the slow motion trauma, let's face it, it feels like a little bit of trauma of aging, then Anne is here to help you be able to move with ease, with age, with grace, to move with ease, even though you're aging, with grace and with confidence, and to feel great again. That's why we're in this space together. I want you to feel great as you age as well and feel vibrant. And she wants you to do that too by taking care of eliminating the pain and the discomfort. As a functional aging specialist, she enhances her clients' ability to function better and to live longer. Live long and prosper. Ann Greenwald, welcome again to the Vibe. Yeah. Oh, it's been.
Thank you, Yvonne. It's so great to be here. Live long. Yeah, can we do that with our fingers? Yeah, live long and prosper.
All right. So yeah, Anne and I have been connected sort of at the hip, it feels like, for the last few years. I've learned so much from her. When I look at your background, Anne, it really seems like you have two major interest areas: pain and aging. What led you to combine these two areas of focus?
Excellent question. So, I grew up fairly athletic. I guess I was blessed with that coordination factor when I was born, and I was a competitive swimmer through college. So I guess I would consider myself a high level athlete, though not to the extent of the Olympians that we're watching on TV today. But um, feeling body breakdown when you overtrain, and having myself and teammates taken out of the game for body breakdown, and the pain that that ensues upon. And it got to the place where I couldn't function. And it is so distracting and so disappointing. And there's so much built around physical function. And at such a young age, it was surprising. And I guess kind of being good at math and sciences, I went into engineering and was so wanted to know how things work and how the body works and why it breaks down. So I went into biomechanics, which is studying the body and how it works and moves, and then orthopedics and injury mechanisms, and then how do you fix it? And yes, the hardware is goes a long way with fixing a broken bone or an acute problem. And but fixing the long-term problems of breakdown, and what I was seeing with, then going into personal training and fitness, et cetera, with clients and my own body as it ages and changes, and studying what my parents were doing, what my grandparents were doing, and how their bodies were reacting. And that became my passion and how that is. And pain is such a nebulous thing. Like when you fall and get hurt, there's kind of, this acute pain, but when it keeps going and going and going, it becomes chronic. And that chronic pain can really stop you in your tracks, and to wake up with that every single day is debilitating. And I needed to understand that. I want to understand that. And that's where the pain and aging kind of come together.
Mm. Oh, and I get that it's very personal for you as
Mm,
well. Very, very personal. We all have parents, or have had parents, and many of us are witnessing that. And I'm watching my father age, and I wish that I had adopted this line of work earlier, to have
mm.
been able to perhaps have helped my mother a little bit more before she left the planet. And certainly, want to do what I can with my father. And I know you're up against that with your parents too. I'm sure a lot of our.
I'm exactly, Yvonne. I'm fortunate and to have both my parents and my in-laws, and watching both the emotional and brain health pain of dementia and Alzheimer's, not to mention the physical pain of a fall and a broken hip, and the prognosis of happy longevity after that, and getting through those places. So yes, it is a very personal thing, and it's yeah, become the focus of my work.
Yeah, yeah. So I invitation to anybody who is watching this, whether in the replay or with us live on Facebook, then let us know if this is something that's on your mind, dealing with aging parents and wanting to help them avoid those pitfalls, I guess, those pitfalls. Yeah, we certainly are at a place where we get to redefine aging, which is what I'm all about. You know, vibrant life is yours for the taking, and to uh, uh, be able to realize your own personal fountain of youth. I also had another takeaway from what you talked about, Anne, because I really admire that you brought that scientific brain of inquiry, that curiosity, that engineering focus, science and math, and you're applying it into the aging process, the recovery process from injury. And when I compare what you and I are doing, compare and contrast, it's like you're focused on the hardware, I'm focused on the software. You know, what can we do nutritionally, what can we do, you know, to keep our bodies fluid and moving through dance, you know, what can we do with reduction of stress. And I know those are important areas for you as well. I'm just so glad that you've got that strong focus on the hardware, as you said, on the hardware. So okay, so before we go and speak more symbolically about the heart chakra, I want to first talk about balance, because I know that that is critical when it comes to healthy aging. You know, that's something that many of us struggle with at some point, or not, or in our lives. So when it comes to healthy aging, I know that you've talked a lot about that, and how important would you say it is in regards to aging well? What's your take on that?
I would have to say the word balance and all of its meanings is the most important thing in life. I know that's a bold statement, but many of my clients will come and say, "Oh, my balance stinks," because they feel clumsy or they feel dizzy and they are not sure where they are in space for a variety of reasons, and that's a scary place to be in. But balance is an emotional balance. Balance is a nutritional balance. Balance is homeostasis. It's an equal, the equal sign of a equation, and the pH in your body, that's a balance thing too. And so our brain is constantly trying to find balance, trying to find that homeostasis, and how we regulate temperature in our body, different things like that, and different systems going off, and alignment. If you can imagine, your car, and one tire is out of alignment, it's going to be out of balance, and the whole rest of the system can get affected. And our bodies are the exact same way. So balance is a critical component, but it's complicated. So I would say, yeah, balance is probably the most important component
Yeah.
of life, let alone aging. And aging is certainly a function of life.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's about being in balance. And when we
Mm,
talk when we
balance.
symbolically about the heart chakra, you know, it's in the center. And so we want to have that balance above, and we want to have the balance below, to create that sense of homeostasis, not too much of one thing
Mhm.
at
And
the
even within the heart chakra, what we might consider love, having a balance of that
hmm
and what that means.
Yeah. And having the balance of self-love.
And self-love.
Self-love, because that's
Hmm.
what causes you to love yourself enough to take care of yourself, love yourself enough to get off of the sofa and go take that walk. You know, it might feel inconvenient, but your body, your lower body needs it. So
Hmm.
have the balance that you don't reach for the bag of potato chips, but maybe you pick up an apple because your body needs those, I guess, I don't know, the electrolytes, or it needs the fiber. It needs the fiber to keep everything in balance in your gut. Um,
It's really tricky, like you have been so beautifully outlining for all of us on the vibe this whole time, is picking up those cues of when you're off balance and what that means, and the tricks and the tools. And I think that's where we are going with a lot of this, is that's hard for a lot of people to pick up when you're off balance. Like we just kind of keep pushing and pushing and we'll be okay. But it's important to figure out the underlying causes of why you're off balance.
yeah, yeah. This is this. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, the cues for when you're off balance, when like when you have a craving for something is usually a cue that something's out of balance. And I'm like many folks. I tend to reach for the wrong thing, or I think of the wrong thing to, or maybe it's not wrong. I don't want to make things wrong. I just want to, I think of something that perhaps isn't the most optimal way for me to maintain or to return to a sense of balance when there are other options. And really what it is that I'm about here and what we want to do at Vibrantly Living You and in our private Facebook group Vibrantly Yours, should you want to join that, is to give you options and other tools for how to reestablish the balance, and that comes from having that healthy heart chakra.
And staying curious that there's potentially always something behind what's causing the imbalance.
Mm.
That's a huge one, I think, for everyone to recognize.
Yeah, you're really good at asking those questions, and you really are. By the way, everybody, she's really good at asking those questions. If you happen to need her services, be prepared for these ahas, these light bulbs to go off.
That's the fun part. And, the key to success is curiosity. And I have really picked up on that from you and from, a lot of the work that we've been doing together. But seeing that aha in everyone else and just being curious, there's something deeper. If something's not quite fitting in, what is going deeper? So keep being curious is what I'm going to say my bottom line word is.
Yeah, okay. All right. Curiosity and balance. Okay. So we've definitely covered that balance is important for people as they age, but in your line of work, in your opinion, in your realm of experience, are there other times when we should be concerned about remaining upright if we're talking about the traditional definition of balance?
Right. And so with being human, like we are upright creatures and we are designed to walk on two legs, which, and underneath it, is our feet. And it's not a big base of support. And the body has to constantly have feedbacks of where it is in space. And when, a lot of it comes from our feet. And when that balance gets thrown off, the alignment gets thrown off for whatever reason, habits, etc. There's a gazillion different ways, um, how the body compensates for that. And we learn different habits. And uh, the phrase that has come up very interestingly enough in this past week with the Olympics and Simone Biles, choosing to not continue in the competition. And with the interview, what's the name of the gal? She was the 2008 all-around Olympic champion in gymnastics, and she gave the term twisties when your brain forgets where you are in space or it gets confused. Twisties, like signals get twisted. And when you're up in the air, that is a scary place to be because you don't know where you are. And the fact that Simone Biles was able to land that jump when she got the twisties and not get hurt is a miracle to me. But what's even more amazing and brave is recognizing her own personal safety is more important than continuing in a competition when she is subject to these twisties. And we are all subject to these twisties. And that's been a focus of, not only my work, but my husband's work for a long time. He studies traumatic brain injuries in sports, so concussions, etc. And he started his work with the U.S. Olympic ski team, the aerial freestyle skiers. And so they're the ones that go, down and off a jump and do a couple flips and, land again. And they go off these big kickers. And it was in 1993 in Park City, Utah at the US, Olympic training camp. And he's at the top of the in run interviewing people, and they had sensors and were, watching them flip. And I think the statistic is as high as 8 out of 10. So 80% of the jumpers did not know what jump they were about to perform because they've had so many head injuries, and they were using kayak helmets as protection. And so the big common thing is they go off the kicker, they're going around and they have, skis on, and the back of their skis hit the snow first and they go flipping back and they have a slap back, which is, boom, hitting their head on the snow. And slap back injuries are crazily common. And so the twisties are happening because of head injuries. And Michael Phelps was kind of interesting to hop on board that little twisty conversation, in the fact that with swimmers and high level swimmers, if we get the twisties, which we do, you're not going to drown. It's not like the safety factor is not so fearful.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a couple of my clients about this twisty conversation, and one of them said, "Oh, yeah, you can get the twisties when you're skiing in a whiteout or you're driving in intense fog and you can't see anymore. And you're operating a heavy vehicle or you're on ice and you're walking and you slip. Like your body gets the twisties and doesn't know how to react and gets very scared and you get frightened because you're not in control anymore and you don't know what's going to happen, and anticipation. So having that sense of control is what kind of brings on the twisties. And when you're not trained for it and you are so dominant on your eyes for where you are in space and no longer can see because of whatever conditions, you freeze, you panic, you can't function. And that's where this balance and energy flow, etc., can come into play. So training and understanding those reactions and when twisties occur and what it feels like and how the body compensates and how you might panic and stop breathing and hold your breath
Yeah.
and where energy doesn't flow through that main heart chakra. That is a huge component of twisties, is the breath.
Isn't it amazing how the world right now is learning about the twisties? And we're learning about this concept of mental health, because that concept, what's going on with the twisties, it's happening up here. There's, that's the mental component, and something's out of whack for her right now, um, for Simone Biles, and has been, I'm sure, for her and previously, but she's been able to overcome it. But for other athletes, and it's not functioning. It's out of alignment. It's out of balance, and we're all learning about that right now. And you said it at the beginning. Thank goodness that she had the strength of heart, self preservation, self love, self compassion to say, I can't do this. It's too dangerous, and to take herself out and to take that little break. And also, I thought in terms of what she's doing for her team.
I'd love to jump on board with that exact comment that she, Brene Brown, I listened to her Dare to Lead podcast, and she had interviewed Abby Wambach at one point. So as a high level athlete that's taken out of a game, and Simone chose to lead and empower her teammates to do their best. And oh my gosh, that energy turnaround, they got the silver. And Suni Lee won the women's all around. And so by taking kind of her energy out, but giving it back to them, what you can do for each other. And that's, I think, an example that we all need to follow for each other. So when you recognize, you can't maybe perform, you got to give it to others. And that was a huge moment in
Mm.
time that we have been waiting for. And I want, you and I together are boosting that recognition because that's really where we want to go.
If you're listening to this now or on the replay, give a thumbs up or a heart if that hit you. What she just said hit you in the same way. I just felt my
Yeah,
heart.
I have goosebumps. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
goosebumps.
yeah, yeah. And that we all have that capacity within
We
us.
all do.
All have that capacity within us, and it's coming from the heart chakra. Oh, see, I told you she was going to help us expand our concept of the heart chakra. I told you, I warned you. I told
Yes.
you. Come.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, you said something else about the lungs and the breathing, and I can totally get to that place because I have been in those conditions before where I didn't know where up was up or up, up from down, and feeling blind and feeling, "Ugh." And yeah, you're right. That breath holding. So, tell us more about this connection between how we breathe and how we balance ourselves.
So what we as humans need to survive, we need air, we need water, and we need nutrition. Bingo, done, bottom line. And air is a big one. I told you I'm a swimmer and I've taught swimming to a lot of people. My favorite clients are 65 and above who retire and want to learn how to swim, and the fear factor about that. And the biggest fear that everybody has is drowning and not being able to breathe. That is a scary place to go. We played in the ocean, you've gotten hit by waves, whatever. That's a scary place to be. You lose control. And so breath and air are equated with life. And when you're not breathing, you don't get air to the brain. You can't think clearly. You're not having hemoglobin, travel in your body. You can't perform. You can't do anything. And it comes in, through the nose and the mouth, goes down into the lungs. The oxygen has to go, it's just again, a balanced equation of oxygen and CO2 and back and forth. And breathing is one of those beautiful things that happens subconsciously. We're going to breathe when we sleep, but it can get out of alignment very easily, very quickly because of stress, because of fear. Holding our breath is a fear based breath, and that's a forced inhale. Like you slip and fall, you're like, you're going to hold your breath, or you see something happening, and that breath holding sends all of these reactions into our brain, and all these chemical reactions that are the fight or flight or protect, or you know you're in midair and get the twisties. That reaction is part of the twisties that sometimes don't know what's happening. And so if we're in a constant state of that breath holding, or we're not getting oxygen to the system, the rest of the body can't function. It's just plain and simple. So learning to breathe and learning to have flow breath and balanced breath with a equal inhale and exhale. I was using the analogy as we're opening our backyard pool and blowing up the floaties and whatnot, or air mattresses. Everybody's seen them when they're all crunched up and you're putting, and it unfolds. I love to think of bringing air into the body and unfolding all the nooks and crannies in our body that are like so tight. And so it's like, ooh, yeah, bring air and unfold that air mattress. And we're tight. We have too many like tight nooks and crannies from life.
Yeah, that's a great
Mhm.
analogy. I like that. That's a really good
It's a, I'm very visual on that kind of stuff. So I need a lot of good thoughts on what that means.
Yeah, no wonder, having a good deep breath is the first thing that people recommend for calming yourself from stress. And I know that, Anne, that you're very passionate about breath for various reasons, and I think you teach something about that in a challenge. I think that's coming up too, right?
Indeed, we do.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we can break that down. Um, we're going to tell you a little bit more about something that we have coming up. But if you want to be as passionate and get as much as you can out of your breath, then you're going to want to pay attention to what Anne has to say at an upcoming event that we'll tell you about in just
The
a.
breath really does affect everything. It's brain function, with the cranial sutures that we need oxygen in the brain to think clearly. You need oxygen throughout the body to move easily. The diaphragm innervates the pelvic floor, which, as we well know, is issues as we age. That is fearful.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Thanks once again for bringing yet another. I almost don't even want to call it symbolic anymore. It's an actual connection between heart chakra, lungs, and upper body, being able to think clearly, lower body, being able
it
to
is
function.
absolutely connected.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you heard it here, folks, from the biomechanically trained.
But it's physically connected, but it's, obviously spiritually connected as well. So very much so that energy is real.
Yeah. So whatever you're doing right now, just take a deep breath. Just breathe in, take a deep breath, suck it in through those nostrils. Maybe hold it at the top of the lungs there for a moment. Make sure you're breathing it all the way down into your lower lungs and then let it out and notice how you feel. Yeah. And I've heard you talk before about something called energy dams. Does that have anything to do with what we're referring to
It
here?
absolutely does. And what we say with breathing and how do you breathe? And people are learning how to breathe. And many of my clients, I say breathe like it's very mouth oriented and through the jaw. The jaw is probably one of our greatest energy dams. Where do people tend to hold their stress?
Yeah, it's
When are they trying to work hard? Is it in the upper shoulders? Is it in the jaw? Is it holding our breath like we just talked about before? And as we're upright creatures walking around, we clench our toes. And so the feet are one of our big energy dams and places I look at first of how we're hitting the ground and what is being received from the feet in terms of neurological, feedback loop. The energy dam we just talked about of the top of the diaphragm, of holding our breath, of getting tight in the rib cage in that solar plexus area, in the throat, in the neck, in the jaw. Most important, we have a lot of muscles. Our head is gosh darn heavy, and moving it around and not being able to turn or sleeping, and what that does to the muscles in the shoulders. And we're here. And so just our lifestyles will create a lot of these dams. And energy is electricity, and it's one of those things that you can't see, like mental health, brain injury, brain health. You can't see it. And so it's hard to understand, but gosh darn, when it's not working and when it's not flowing. You get tight, you get sore, you get stiff, and there's something under it. So at the beginning of this conversation, we were like, stay curious of the whatever you're feeling, of understanding what's maybe below the surface. Like, why are you holding tension in certain places? What actions are you doing? What thoughts are you having that create the feelings of anxiety or fear or what ifs. And yeah, do we blink our eyes? Do we look around like what's your brain trying to figure out of where your balance is? And
Yeah.
so that creates dams, it creates blocks.
Yeah. So a couple of things came up for me there. First of all, we talked about the heart chakra actually extends to these upper shoulder area, in the upper spine. So if you go around like this, feeling tense, then again, heart chakra, breath, soften, surrender, be curious, about what's going on. But also in this concept of energy dams, if you are locking, clenching, squeezing, then it's almost like it's self perpetuating, right? It just continues to cause you to not take that deeper breath. So it builds on itself. So I love that
How
the
many people have sleep apnea? How many people have night guards for their teeth? The dentist, because they're grinding their teeth at night. The mouth is amazingly important and how we're getting air in and out of our bodies.
it's not just sleep apnea, and well, now we're starting to drift into sleep. But I have actually been surprised at how many people I know who require some sort of substance to help them sleep at night. And I
Hmm,
think that
hmm.
went up over this year of the pandemic and the ongoing pandemic. And that made me just feel so appreciative of the fact that I safeguard my sleep. I take great care at creating um, a comfortable sleep environment, and I'm fortunate. I guess I'm grateful that I have that ability to do that. The other thing I just wanted to point out, and yet another connection in what we do, is often when I'm teaching Nia, when we get to a certain point in the routine, I'll often tell people to relax their jaw, to part their lips, to cause that, so that either from excitement, or maybe there's a little bit of tension from, oh, what's the next move going to be. It becomes easy when you're working out to instead of just part the lips, release the jaw, relax the jaw. And so you've just given me a good reason.
So part of the neurokinetic therapy muscle testing that I do, oftentimes if people have an energy dam around their jaw and I'm doing a muscle test, say in their lower back, I'll have them do the test with their mouth closed and with their mouth open. And it is a completely different test because their brain is using their jaw to pass the test that's potentially down in their lower back or lower abdominal, where, so talk about twisties and getting signals crossed, the compensation patterns that are developed. And so doing stuff with the mouth open, mouth closed, and just the aha awareness of when you do clench your mouth or how you're breathing on any given occasion. And so for practice purposes, I'll have people keep their lips together, but their teeth apart. And then the tongue. So the tongue is attached to muscles, down in the lower or the throat area, that when you gently push it against the roof of your mouth, you're not pushing it hard, but it takes these other muscles out of the equation. And so your brain has to use the muscles that it should be using instead of these other compensation guys. So it's interesting. Those little tricks go a long way in balancing that equation.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. And I think it goes without saying at this point that, we're also talking about stress, physical stress, as
Mm-hmm.
mental and emotional stress, and that the way to move through that, one way to move through that is through breathing. Yeah. So this has been very, very enlightening and very enlightening. Thank you for
Yeah.
being
I love talking to you, Yvonne. I can talk about this all day long. And it's an important thing that affects every single person, not only the high level athletes. Yes, they're the ones that are, right in front of us visually. And I'm thrilled that it's finally becoming acceptable to be vulnerable like that. But we all get them. We all get the twisties. And if we want to not kind of fall into this tight old age place, and stay vibrant for a long time, learning to recognize these things and how they can be easily overcome.
Yeah. Yeah. So important. Yeah. So Anne, or as I mentioned, Anne and I, we're going to team up again. We've been collaborators for a while because what we do is so similar. Um, and we're going to team up again. And if you want to learn more about what Anne has to teach and how it's connected with what I do, you want to take that deeper dive into the topics that affect your health and your aging and your longevity, then I invite you to join us. Anne, would you like to tell us a little bit more about what we've got coming up? And I'll fill in from there. Just, yeah.
I sure do. I sure do. So at the end of August, we're going to do a 4-day masterclass. And it kind of like a challenge, I guess. And we've played around with that word challenge. And, I've been thinking about it lately. Like there's challenges that you sign up for, that you're on board for, that you're going to learn, and it's great. But think of how many challenges in our world we don't sign up for. And I have to say, when shit hits the fan, that those are challenges you don't sign up for, but this is a challenge we want you to sign up for so you can be ready for those other challenges you don't sign up for, and get a set of tools and awareness that you can handle those other challenges. So this is a fun learning health, I got this challenge that we would love you all to be engaged with, and because empowering you guys to take care of your own longevity and vibrant life. Because, what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want in 10 years, in 15 years? What's your life going to look like? Kind of taking those deep thoughts, and how you going to get there. Are you going to be frail and having somebody take care of you and think about who's taking care of you? Or are you going to be having them try to keep up with you and play and have fun?
Yeah,
And, that's the
absolutely.
good part.
Yeah, be nice and robust and
Hmm.
energetic and
And,
confident.
travel and adventure and curiosity. And it's living above the line.
I like that, living above the line. And I like what you just said about, you know, uh, for the challenge, be prepared for the challenges that you didn't sign up for. That is one great way to look at it. So we're going to talk about some of these bigger topics around breath, around movement and posture, and certainly I'm going to, tell you about nutrition a little bit more. So it's a much it's a big bag, a big mixture of very important, vital topics. It's going to be August 24th, Tuesday through Friday, August 24th through the 27th. And you have two ways to connect with us. We're going to put more information about this. We're still, working out the final details, but I can tell you right now that you can either join us in a masterclass format, showing up on Zoom with us, or you can also hop into a Facebook setting that we'll be organizing and participate with us there. And we're putting our heads together on some fun prizes that we can hand out as well. But for sure, the biggest prize is going to be the information that you and the inspiration, the motivation that you get to be able to handle those challenges that you don't sign up for. That's your big prize. So
Hmm.
we are really looking forward to being able to share that with you. So stay tuned, so watch this space. It's called Leap into Vitality, and we want to be with you on
I'd
that.
like to add, Yvonne, for those listening and seeing this, that, you may have something that we said today resonates for you personally, but it may also resonate. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, my sister could really use this, or my brother, or my father, or my mother, or my best friend, or anybody in your life. Like you're the one being curious right now, and thank God, thank you for listening. But empower others, like, learn yourself, and then how you can share that um challenge with and courage and bravery and whatever, longevity into everybody's life, because that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, there's so many people that I think that use this. And that's another
And so keep that in mind, invite them as well.
yeah, and that's one reason that we will be doing this in Facebook as well, because you'll have access to the replays. And so if
Mhm.
one of your friends, family members is not available during the afternoon when we're doing this, they can watch through Facebook and still be able to experience and participate to the full extent.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we are nearing the end of this week's vibe, but before I go, I do want to mention the chakra food and the chakra move of the week. These are becoming traditions. I just love it. Something that you can play with, and take with you and connect until the next week. So for the chakra food, this week it's going to be red cabbage. Yes, red cabbage. That is so versatile. So many things you can do with it. It is high in nitrates that help to relax the blood vessels, and that helps reduce blood pressure, and then that optimizes oxygen uptake when you've got less turbulence in your blood vessels. Plus, it is packed with fiber. Your body needs the fiber to for all kinds of reasons, for probiotic reasons, for gut health and immunity, and good digestive health. So you need that fiber, and for energy as it slowly breaks down in your system. Studies show that people who consume more fiber actually have better lung function than those who consume low amounts of fiber, like lots and lots of protein and lots of sugar, lots and lots of animal protein, I should say. There are nitrates in animal protein, but we don't want those. We want the nitrates that come from a handful of vegetables like red chakra, like red cabbage, red chakra, red chakra. Okay, so red cabbage. See if you can work some into your meal plans for this week. You can stir fry it. You can put it into salads to build out a salad. Maybe take a green salad and add some extra crunch to it. Very satisfying. For the chakra move of the week, I'm going with the bridge pose. The bridge pose. So, yeah, so just lie on your back and raise up your knees so that your feet are still on the floor. And then lift your hips up. Just lift your hips up. And by doing that, you're going to be opening and expanding this lung area. Your head will be resting very gently on the floor, and you can just have your arms lying down by your side. This is also good for creating some power in your glutes, and I believe also in the hamstrings. You're going to get a little something in the hamstrings as well as the quadriceps. If you want a little bit more of an opening, and you can do it, you can clasp your hands behind your back like this. It's going to create an even greater opening across the shoulders, and you're conditioning these muscles that stretch across the heart chakra, across the front of the lungs, and taking that deeper breath. And then very, oh, so gently and lovingly allow yourself to lower your hips. And if it's comfortable for you and you don't have neck issues, you can challenge yourself to see if you can lower from the top of your spine one vertebra at a time, or just have that in mind. Only if it's comfortable for you and you don't have neck issues. Otherwise, just gently lower your hips to the earth again. So that's the bridge pose. Another thing you can do if you're comfortable with that is, as your hips are lifted, consciously, intentionally press down with your feet. That'll make it a stronger pose and create a greater tightening of the muscles, so that when you release, there's that relaxation again, that opening and closing. Did I get it right?
You got it great. And can I add to it?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So you're high fiving me.
I am high-fiving. Add your breath. So, I love the bridge pose. It is absolutely one of the best because you are stimulating and activating the gluteus maximus, which is important for upright, because it's going to extend the hips when you go to stand up. So keeping that gluteus, because we sit on it, so it kind of to sleep a lot. So you do need to activate it. but getting the motion through the spine and opening up the chest, brilliant. So when you are laying in that starting position with the feet on the floor, knees bent, on your back, take a breath, big breath in. Then, as you are exhaling, you don't have to go through the mouth, but go through the nose. Push on your heels and squeeze your butt cheeks and lift it up. So you're combining breath and exhale breath with an activated motion. So that's going to tell your brain to turn on your butt and lift you up. So it's connected through the breath from brain to butt. So it's like a whole connection thing. And then when you're up there, you lower yourself back down, exactly as Yvonne was beautifully saying, vertebrae at a time, like you're laying down a chain, but do that as you inhale. So you're laying yourself back down slowly. And what that does is provides stability through your intrinsic core muscles, which the diaphragm surrounds, and gives you control and stability going back down. So make it slow, make it smooth, make it fun, but add your breath.
Yeah. See, this is why you got to come to the challenge. Yeah, I love it whenever she does the
We
body.
are so yin and yang, Yvonne. I love it.
I
And
love it too.
mhm,
I call it the biomechanical breakdown.
yeah, biomechanical breakdown,
Breakdown on this.
but making it in a flow and beautiful and open state because everything you said is absolutely correct and perfect. And I just wanted to add that breath into it.
Great, 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 great. Okay, folks, we have definitely come to the end, and I just want a quick reminder that you're always invited to book a Vibrant for Life breakthrough session with me, complimentary. Go to my website, The Living You, that's the letter U, thelivingyou.com to sign up for that. You can also sign up for a free gift. You can see back episodes of The Vibe. This one will be out there soon. So always available to you. And then be sure to watch this space for more information about the Leap into Vitality Challenge, or maybe it's an adventure. Maybe we need to call it a Leap into Vitality Adventure with Ann and myself, August 24th through 27th. And thank you so much for enriching this space with your wisdom.
Thank you, Yvonne. That was so fun.
It was fun. We must do this more and often. Everybody, have a great and wonderful, vibrant weekend. Remember, a vibrant life is yours for the taking. That's why we are here. We want to help you reach out and grab it. A vibrant life is yours for the taking. Please join me next week on The Vibe. Take care. Bye, all.